The Indiana Fever is such a likable team, such a likable group of personalities. Not even going to talk about Caitlin Clark in this. You're talking about the rest of her team, some of her all-star teammates. That includes obviously Aaliyah Boston, who is a thoughtful and intelligent individual who properly identified the basketball needs for the Indiana Fever. Let's start with the basketball.
Or each game.
It's been a while since we've talked basketball.
Yeah, hi, Leah. Throughout the course of the year, we got to see the offense, grow more and more each game. So I guess should the front office make some moves or whatever they do, what do you think is the next key for this offense to continue to grow in the next season?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for us, it's going to make sure that one, we have depth at every position. I think making sure that we have extra bodies, just because you never know how games go. I mean, in the first, can I get fined for something? Like in the first game, we had to reverse a call, like making sure that stuff like that doesn't happen. Foul trouble, like making sure that we have depth. I can't get fined for that. Okay, good. And just making sure that no matter what, we have sharpshooters on the outside, because at the end of the day, like, they're going to play Caitlin, they're going to play Kelsey a certain way, making sure that we have spray outs, automatic makes on the outside as well.
That is just really well put by Aaliyah Boston. WNBA players don't make enough to get fined for stuff like that. That wouldn't be fair. But Aaliyah's right. I mean, when Aaliyah had foul trouble, they were in trouble. When Lexi Hull had foul trouble, they were in trouble. There's no one they can turn to off the bench. They need a starting power forward, number one. They need another wing on the roster, number two. Maybe Erica Wheeler can handle the backup point guard ball handling duties still. But regardless, there were only 4 players that I think you could trust on the Fever. So that is job number one for Lynn Dunn, to build up the depth. If you can't acquire a star player, at least acquire a bunch of complementary players who help and fit the roster. And Aaliyah was right about those knockdown shooters would really help as well. Now, Boston also talked about everything else that's going on in the WNBA. And here was her statement on that.
Inside Game Bridge.
Yeah, I mean, AT's comments it's hard to hear, but it's also the truth in some way. I mean, I wouldn't put everything on Fever fans, but I mean, just overall on social media, I mean, there has been so much hate spread, and even being on this team, like, to start the season, I was at the other end of those hate comments. I was at the other end of every single thing that's to come. They say they support the Fever and everything like that, but I mean, they just said everything under the earth, and it wasn't nice. And I feel like that was a big reason as to why I took a break from social media. And at the same time, it's like, now that the tables have turned and we started winning games, and I started doing better in their opinion, then all of a sudden it was like love comments and, oh my gosh, you're doing amazing. And honestly, it's hard as a player, because every single night we come out here, we're not performing for what you guys think. We are coming out here to do the best that we can to compete every single night. And it's kind of hard, but that's why for us, it's about focusing about the 12 in the locker room. It's about focusing what's important there, keeping those priorities straight, because if you worry about every single thing that happens on the outside, it's kind of hard to win games, and that's exactly what we want to do. But a big part of it too is the storylines that come out. Like, I feel like the media plays a big role in what other people think, whether they watch the game or not. Sometimes people aren't even watching the games. They're just looking at storylines, headlines that come out, and they're running off of that. And it's easy to attach yourself to the Fever because we have a lot of attention around us right now. And it's so easy to say, well, I'm a Fever fan, I'm an AB fan, I'm a Caitlin fan, and just dispute hate off of that. And that's never okay. I feel like no matter who you are, what team you play for.
So very thoughtful comments from Aaliyah Boston. I have no idea what she received. Obviously, she deserved none of it. Nobody deserves any of it, but Aaliyah just seems like a wonderful young lady. I will say there's a distinction between negative feedback from fans and hateful comments from fans, right? And Aaliyah did not play particularly well at the beginning of the season. So I could see her getting criticized for that. I don't know if she was in as good a shape as she got into. And then she started playing great. And so, yes, naturally fans got behind her. I do think the Clark fans were a bit more crazy at the beginning of the year. It was everybody's fault but Caitlin, like sort of this cultish mentality from some of the Clark fans. And maybe that rubbed her the wrong way as well. But sports fans are going to you ever listen to sports talk radio, you'll get it. But nevertheless, thoughtful, intelligent comments from Aaliyah Boston. Then there were the comments from Kelsey Mitchell and Erica Wheeler on the same topic. They seemed a little less aware of everything that is going on.
And if you've seen any of that firsthand. No, what was the comments? Oh, Alyssa Thomas came out and said that the Fever fan base was racist.
I mean, we can't control what someone else says. Like, for the more like,
I think that for us, we err on the side of professionalism in a lot of different ways, and we can only control what's in our organization within our people. And that, I mean, me personally, we don't condone those kind of things. No matter what color you are, whatever you carry or possess. I think for us, we focus on the basketball part. And I think that she may have had experience that we may or may not know on her own. But I don't think that, that should be labeled on us 12 or our, who we try to represent for ourselves. And so, I respect her comment and what she has to say, but I don't think it has anything to do with us,
Yeah, and also to piggyback on that, like, we don't condone any of those things. Like, for the more, eyes been on us since C got drafted. So for us, our ears been blocked out longer than most people, if that make any sense. So, like I've said, a comment before, like, it's a lot of things that try to come in this building and to pull us apart that we just didn't let. However, we probably got it too. We just don't care about it, because what's important is this organization and us winning games, and that's what we did. So, but for the most part, we don't condone that. I don't care about it, because there's a fan who probably sitting on the couch doing nothing, so I don't care.
So they received some backlash for that. I don't know why or how that could be possible. The Fever themselves, the players on the Fever, may be uniquely positioned to deal with all this because they knew what they had, and the other teams are on the periphery of the explosion in popularity around Caitlin Clark. But nonetheless, the Fever kept it pushing and controlled what they can control, because there's no way to answer this or fix this. We could release a statement every day. It's not going to fix this, because these people are getting off on that nonsense. And then people attacked them to the point where Erica Wheeler had to respond. She said, "I'll say this one last time. If you know any piece of the journey to the W, you would understand why I don't care what people think of me, especially a stranger. I was just always curious if these people lack self-esteem or acceptance. I don't know. I just hope they're okay mentally, because saying anything negative about me is a waste of time." Essentially saying, I know who I am. And Erica Wheeler became a fan favorite because of who she was. One other comment that was noteworthy that had nothing to do with all that. I don't even know if it was noteworthy. It was just indicative of the type of personality she is. Temefek Benley was asked about her role.
Post-postseason start, you're able to have such an impact in the fourth quarter, even though it didn't go your way. What did that moment mean?
I mean, to me, it's just funny, because people ask, how does it feel to start? I don't care to start. I don't care to come off the bench. I care to win. So that's my goal every time I put on a jersey, whichever team I'm on, like, I don't know, just to me, people's kind of priorities are a little skewed when it comes to being on a team. And, oh my gosh, are you starting? Are you not? Are you going to get how many points? You're going to, like, the kind of the limelight. I don't care about any of that. So not the right person. Those kind of questions. I'm here to win and do my job. And so it didn't mean anything more or less than a regular game.
And that's the type of person you want, the type of player you want in your locker room. All in all, just a likable group of players who I can't wait to see back on the floor. I can't wait to follow more. Fever Girls forever.